bring to light the importance of these issues about keeping New Yorkers safe on the road. They asked me, where should we do this rally here in Long Island? There's a lot of stakeholders that we could pick, but I thought this backdrop in front of the Nassau County Executive's Office would be the most important, because honestly, to the east this year, we've seen Suffolk County, thank you to Legislator Hahn, do something to make us safer on the roads by passing the 3-foot law. To the west of us in New York City, they've made incredible strides in terms of making people safer on the roads, bicyclists, pedestrians, lowering speed limits. Unfortunately, we're sitting in Nassau County where nothing has been done. Nassau County, along with Suffolk, but Nassau County rates the highest outside New York City for bicycle-related serious injuries, fatalities, and deaths. And these numbers continue to grow, and the numbers are going to get even worse year to year. Every single day you open up Newsday, you see one more story about a hit and run, about a drunk driver. Yesterday, I don't know if anybody saw this story, about a 74-year-old man who drove through a schoolyard drunk, while 80 children and their teachers had to run for cover as he blasted through a schoolyard. And this is the norm here in Long Island. Every single day we wake up to another fatality, to another drunk driver, to another young child being seriously injured or killed on his or her bike, or another pedestrian dying. And it has to stop. It has to stop by Nassau County starting to take this as a serious health issue and stop just treating it as an accident. These are not accidents, these are preventable deaths, they are crashes. And we can no longer live with this, so that's why we're here in front of this particular building. What's so important about the work of these 8 bills that are going to be in front of Albany? One of the most important bills in terms of allowing a local municipality to control its own traffic. So one of the laws is going to allow New York City to control their speed cameras. We want the rest of the state to have the capability to control their own traffic laws, to create their own traffic laws like we did in Suffolk County, to have towns and villages have the capability to lower their own speed limits. So there's a series of 8 bills that are before Albany. For me, the bill we've been working on at the New York Bicycle Coalition, where I serve as a member of the board of directors, is a 3-foot law, like we passed in Suffolk County. We want this now to be statewide, which is going to require a motorist to pass a cyclist at a minimum distance of at least 3 feet. The other laws we're working on here, which everybody knows, Sammy's Law, is to allow lower speeding limits in New York City, to create a crash victims' bill of rights, to allow crash victims to have better access to police crash reports, speed cameras 24/7. We all know what happened here in Nassau County with our speed camera program, what a disaster that was. $30 million budget hole after they tried to roll out a program. We need to re-implement that program in Nassau County, done the right way. We need to create a dangerous driving act so that serious and negligent drivers could be held criminally responsible for their acts. The Vehicle Safety and Labeling Act, so consumers know the vehicles they're purchasing and whether it be survivability involving crashes with pedestrians and cyclists. Lowering the blood alcohol limit from 0.08 to 0.05. The 3-foot law, rite of passage, which I just talked about. And another really important issue is having DMV licensing testing, having more questions and more education on the pre-licensing in New York State driver's license testing for those who are going to become licensed drivers in this state. So that's why we are here today. That's why we picked this backdrop, Nassau County, so that Nassau County will wake up. We invited Laura Kern to be out here with us, to take this seriously, to join us and join us in the cause, and she's not here. So with that, I want to have some other people speak. So is Diana here?
June 30th, it will be 2 years since my 13-year-old son was run over by a reckless driver. Andrew was just trying to ride his bike home. That should not be a deadly act. That is why I am here today to support the Crash Victim Rights and Safety Act. Long Island is where Andrew lived, and he loved it here. Our family, We raised our family here, but we feel betrayed by our local leaders who did not keep our streets safe. Andrew was an amazing child. His smile would light up a room, and his heart was even bigger. Andrew was my everything. He had compassion for everyone and respect. He never let anybody feel alone or left out, including special needs children. When he passed away, I had parents coming to me and telling me all these wonderful things about my son that I never knew, because to him it was just normal to be a great person. I want everybody to know that we need to make a change. The children are our future. Andrew was a victim, and we have not had any justice in his death. Andrew lived a full life. He loved baseball, and he enjoyed playing hockey. He loved playing his musical instruments, dancing, playing PlayStation with his friends, and he would be loud at times. And I would say, Andrew, take it a notch down. How I wish I could hear his voice playing with his friends. But I can't. My family and I miss him dearly and suffer with pain every day. I will never see Andrew graduate or have a family of his own. I am here today to carry on Andrew's legacy for compassion and helping others as he did. I have been fighting to fix the deadly Hempstead Turnpike, which I've been let down over and over again. That's where Andrew was killed. And now I'm also fighting for these life-saving bills to prevent others from heartache that we have endured. Please, I urge Long Island Senator and Assembly members to support these bills, and urge Senator Majority Leader Stuart Cousins, Assembly Speaker and Transportation Chair McNarelli, and Kennedy to act with urgency required to make sure these bills all pass legislative session. We cannot allow another person to die. We need to help. We can't change our situation. I can't bring Andrew back, but I refuse to not help the next person. These bills need to be passed. Thank you.
3 New Yorkers are killed every single day by traffic violence. Parents, spouses, teenagers, children, people who are deeply loved, like Andrew, and cherished. 3 of them every day are killed by something that is completely preventable. My name is Shivana. Four and a half years ago, sadly, it was me who lost my husband, Oren Ben-Aim, who was killed by a speeding driver who went through a red light and kept driving. Oren was just walking to the train station in Great Neck on an ordinary Friday morning. He was 43 years old, and the driver was never caught. We continue to miss Oren every single day. I still hear his voice, his footsteps, his laugh. We miss his big bear hugs. He was so protective of me and my son, and yet in the end, none of us could protect him from a reckless driver who, if he had been driving the speed limit and stopped at the red light, Oren would still be with us. Oren would be able to celebrate the holidays with his parents and root our son on in a national rowing race next week. But because we don't treat traffic violence for the preventable crisis that it is, his life ended tragically too soon. To honor my husband's life, we are fighting for legislative changes to prevent other families from living through this kind of tragedy. It does not need to be this way. We urge the Long Island legislators, and more importantly, the New York Senate and Assembly leadership, to pass the Crash Victims' Rights and Safety Act this legislative session so other families don't have to experience the same horrific loss. Thank you.
Well, first I want to thank everyone for coming out. For us, we're on mile 950 of a 1,000-mile trip around New York State that we have made these past few days, holding rallies and vigils. 1,000 miles, one for every New Yorker killed on our roadways. A horrible number, right? 1,000 New Yorkers every year. 3 people like my son Sammy, like Oren, like Cole and Andrew, every single day. For me, it'll be 8 years since I lost my 12-year-old son. He was killed just trying to go from school to soccer practice, and he was killed in front of our home. It should not have to be a deadly act. And so we are banded together and have joined with organizations like the ones here today. We're so grateful that you came out across the state holding rallies and vigils. This is, I think, our 12th event over 3 days, culminating tomorrow in New York City. Because each number is more than a statistic. Each number is a heartbreaking story, and it has to stop. There is no end in sight, and without urgent action, we will be living these tragedies for many years to come. You know, we just lived through a horrible crisis that we are hopefully seeing the end of. And what we have seen is that our communities can really come together and recognize the sanctity of life. And we have also seen our leaders act with the urgency that a crisis requires. Where is the urgency on this crisis? Where is the action locally from your county leader to our statewide electeds? Shame on them. We need them to do their job now. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Suffolk County Legislator Cara Hahn. We were able to pass the 3-foot law in Suffolk County, and I am here to support this to go statewide. There's no reason that we should lose 1,000 New Yorkers a year. There's no reason that Sammy, Paul, Andrew, and Oren aren't here today. These are common sense laws that we expect our legislators to pass statewide. 3 feet, the length of your arm. You know, it was really important when bicycle riders came out and spoke before the legislature and could explain why that makes such a difference, why bicycle riders sand on the ground, a stick in front of their path could cause them to swerve, and having that 3-foot buffer could make the difference between life and death. Common sense laws that shouldn't take this long to pass every day we tick by 3 more lives. And that's just sad. So I am here in support. Very sorry for your losses. And thank you.
So I'm Councilwoman Veronicalurvey from the town of North Hempstead, and I represent parts of Great Neck, Manhasset, and Roslyn here in Nassau County. I want to echo what my colleague said. It shouldn't take tragedies, stories, hearing stories of tragic lives cut short, for us to appreciate that pedestrian safety needs to be a priority on our legislative agendas. If anything, over the past few months, we've seen an increase in the danger on our streets. As more people are on the streets, more people are riding bikes, and now the cars coming back, the traffic coming back, everybody in a rush. This is unsustainable. We can't keep going on like this and losing people. When I talk about pedestrian safety, I talk about it as a multifaceted approach. Part of it is as a design issue. Part of it is an education issue. Part of it is a behavioral issue. Part of it is enforcement. These bills that we're talking about here today, they take a multifaceted issue. And these organizations that are coming together today are approaching it as a multi-community issue. And so I just want to say, I thank you to all the organizations here for raising our awareness about this issue in Nassau County. Thank you for making that trip here. Very much appreciated. I'm sorry you had to do it, but we're glad that you're here, and thank you for your continued advocacy.
Thank you for coming out like this week. Support.
Hi, my name is Marjorie. My organization is dedicated. You know, I'm looking at the back of the t-shirt, Safe Streets. Who doesn't want safe streets? Everybody's going to say, yes, great idea. But those same people are the ones that are going to choose to get behind the wheel drunk, choose to get behind the wheel drunk, choose to text behind the wheel, choose to run red lights and blow stop signs. Those are the people that don't think, are either ignorant or simply don't care. So everybody that's here working together to make our streets safer can only be a good thing. Unfortunately, I couldn't take my eyes off the casket either. I survived the crash that killed my son. I was denied, if you will, the luxury of grief. I didn't get to go to his funeral. I was fighting for my own life in the hospital. Nobody should have to bury our loved one. Nobody should have to miss a funeral or go to a funeral. We all need to get together as just individuals, as regular people, pedestrians, bike riders, drivers, and make our streets safe. Thank you, and I'm getting teary-eyed, so I'm done. Anybody else like to speak?
I just want to close out, so I'm going to give everybody homework. So when we are done here, I have a little QR code. But you don't have to film this part.
Okay. It's upside down.
Oh, it's upside down. Yes. Well, that will help. You can stand in front of the setup here with the QR code and take a pic. Can someone take your picture and put it out on your own social media page? It takes you right to a petition that will, when people sign it, it sends a letter directly to the Senate and Assembly majority and, Speaker Hasty and the transportation chairs, urging them to pass these bills. The session ends next Thursday. We have very few days left, but we have seen in a few days what the state legislature can do. We just need them to do it on this issue. So take your picture in front and then tweet it out on social media, and then you yourself can use this to sign the petition right here as well. So thank you all for coming out, and thanks for your